In a sense, this kind of acting, I guess you're just having fun and you're putting on the rags and
Hello, cinema enthusiasts. August 29th, 1987. Tucson, Arizona. Hollywood's last true hard man, Lee Marvin, is face to face with death, trapped in the grip of pancreatic cancer. But he refuses to go quietly. In his hand is a tape recorder, and into it, he records the lies, the fake heroes, and the cowards he kept silent about for 50 years, one by one. Just before he died, Lee Marvin named the 5 actors he hated most. In this video, we examine the 5 names that landed on Lee Marvin's blacklist and the dark truths hidden behind them. And especially the name at number 5. When you hear how the man Marvin once called "my brother" betrayed him at his weakest moment, you won't believe it. If you're ready, let's begin. Number 1. John Wayne, the betrayal of the paper cowboy. At the top of the list stands a towering name, Lee Marvin, described as the biggest fraud in Hollywood history, John Wayne. The world knew him as an American hero. To Lee Marvin, he was nothing more than a coward held together by makeup and stunt doubles. What happened on the set of The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance in 1962 marked the beginning of that hatred. John Wayne arrived on set in a white Cadillac, spotless boots, dyed hair, looking more like a dentist than a cowboy. Lee Marvin, meanwhile, stepped off a Greyhound bus wearing filthy clothes he hadn't changed in 3 days, looking like a real drifter. As tensions grew, Wayne pulled Marvin aside and sneered, "This is my movie. You're just here to make me look good." Marvin's response shattered Wayne's manufactured aura. "Duke, I don't need to make you look good. You already look like a hair dye commercial." The breaking point came during the film's most important scene. Marvin's 6-page monologue, something he had worked on for months, was handed to Wayne overnight after Wayne pressured director John Ford. Marvin cornered Wayne in the makeup room and locked the door. Calling him by his real name, he shouted, "Listen, Marion, I've got shrapnel in my hip from Saipan and a Purple Heart. All you've got is makeup and stuntmen. When you steal my scenes, remember this. You're just a coward in costume." The set shut down for 3 hours. Wayne demanded Marvin be fired, but Marvin's position was already sealed. Result: Lee Marvin never forgave John Wayne, not even after Wayne's death in 1979. Number 2. Charles Bronson, the stone-faced liar. Second on the list is Charles Bronson, whom Lee Marvin saw as a snake hiding cowardice beneath silence. On the set of The Dirty Dozen, Marvin believed they were allies, until he discovered how Bronson quietly sabotaged him for his own career. On set, Bronson gained Marvin's trust by saying, "We're the real tough guys. We should stick together against the phonies." Marvin taught him how to handle a weapon, how to move like a real soldier. Meanwhile, Bronson secretly whispered to studio executives and reporters that Marvin was constantly drunk on set. When Marvin collapsed from exhaustion, Bronson would theatrically help him to his trailer in front of cameras, reinforcing the drunken actor image. The explosion came when Marvin read these lies in a British newspaper. He stormed into Bronson's trailer, smashed a whiskey bottle against the wall, pressed the jagged glass to Bronson's throat, and whispered, "You want proof I'm drunk, Charlie? Congratulations, you'll carry it on your skin." For the first time, Bronson's stone face cracked with fear. When crew members later found Marvin's journals documenting Bronson's calls to gossip reporters, the truth was undeniable. Result: after The Dirty Dozen, Lee Marvin turned down 3 major projects worth $2 million just to avoid working with Bronson again. To Marvin, Bronson's famous silence wasn't dignity, it was emptiness. When Bronson died in 2003 after losing his memory, Marvin called it divine justice. He left this world without even knowing who he was. Number 3. Steve McQueen, the end of cool-blooded ego. Third is Steve McQueen, whom Lee Marvin labeled the killer of authenticity. During the Great Escape era, McQueen approached Marvin like a disciple, absorbing his war stories, mannerisms, and hardman presence, then repackaging them as his own. McQueen initially told Marvin how much he admired him. Marvin explained what it meant to stare death in the face, the sound of a sniper's bullet, the weight of trauma. While taking mental notes, McQueen later dismissed Marvin in a magazine interview as outdated and yesterday's news. The final confrontation happened at the film's wrap party, when McQueen said, "No hard feelings, Lee. I'm just the future." Marvin flicked his cigarette into the darkness and replied, "The future is just the past with better lighting, Steve. One day someone younger and prettier will call you obsolete, and you'll hate him the way you hate me now." Marvin knew McQueen's famous squint and cool demeanor were stolen imitations. Result: to Lee Marvin, Steve McQueen represented the moment Hollywood chose imitation over truth. Even after McQueen's death in 1980, Marvin said, he lived his life like a stunt double, never letting go of his contempt. Number 4. Clint Eastwood, the Shadow Thief. Fourth is Clint Eastwood, branded by Marvin as the Silent Thief. According to Marvin, Eastwood stole not only his style, but even the physical damage earned in war, and never paid a cent for it. On the set of Paint Your Wagon, Eastwood studied Marvin like a textbook. Marvin noticed Eastwood wearing his boots. Worse, Eastwood copied Marvin's slight limp, caused by a Saipan injury, as if it were a character trait. The breaking point came when director Joshua Logan pulled Marvin aside and said, "Lee, you and Clint look too similar. You'll need to differentiate yourself." Marvin was being asked to step aside for someone copying his pain. Marvin caught Eastwood practicing in front of a mirror and shouted, "You can't copyright a personality, Clint, but you can steal a soul. You took my pain and turned it into a pose. People will love the pose, but they'll never know the blood behind it." Result: when Eastwood took the role of Dirty Harry, a role Marvin had rejected, and turned Marvin's voice and posture into an icon, Marvin declared, "Hollywood's greatest trick is making copies more valuable than originals." Even on his deathbed, he referred to Eastwood as the Silent Thief. Number 5. James Coburn, Judas Kiss. At the end of the list is the betrayal Lee Marvin never forgave, the name he cursed 3 times before dying, James Coburn. Marvin taught him everything, brought him into Hollywood, and trusted him like a brother. Coburn repaid that loyalty with a knife in the back. Marvin taught Coburn how to handle a gun, how to face the camera, how to look dangerous. He personally recommended him for The Great Escape. But behind Marvin's back, Coburn negotiated with producers and took a leading role that had been written for Marvin. The final reckoning happened in a bar in Mexico, when Coburn smirked and said, "You're yesterday's news, Lee. The future is mine." Marvin dropped him with a single punch, knocking out 2 teeth. Standing over him, he said, "Your future is bleeding right here, Jim. When loyalty expires, so do you." That punch buried a 50-year friendship. Result: Lee Marvin never spoke to Coburn again. Coburn's later Oscar and fame meant nothing to him, just a monument to betrayal. As Marvin shut off the tape recorder in 1987, he whispered, "At last. I don't have to protect anyone anymore." When Lee Marvin died on August 29, 1987, Hollywood didn't lose an actor, it lost the truth. John Wayne's fakery, Bronson's lies, McQueen's ego, Eastwood's theft, Coburn's betrayal. Marvin carried these names with him to the grave. What do you think? Was Lee Marvin right to expose them? Or does a true gunslinger always die alone? Let's discuss in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to explore the dark side of Hollywood legends. See you in the next video.